The SS Badger is a passenger and vehicle ferry that has been in service on Lake Michigan since 1953. Currently, this ship shuttles between Michigan and Wisconsin, a distance of 62 miles or 100 kilometers. She is the last coal-fired passenger vessel operating on the Great Lakes and was designated a National Historical Landmark on January the 20th, 2016. The ship is named after the University of Wisconsin's athletic teams, the Wisconsin Badgers. The Badger runs on Michigan time, which is the Eastern time zone, whereas Wisconsin is in the Central time zone, and riders pay Michigan taxes on their fares. She runs on a seasonal basis from May to October. She was constructed as a railcar ferry in 1952 by the Christie Corporation of Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, along with her twin sister, the SS Spartan. With a reinforced hull for ice braking, she was originally used to carry rail cars, passengers, and automobiles between the two sides of the lake all year long. Launched on September the 6th, 1952, she entered service on March the 21st, 1953. The Badger is 4,244 gross tons, 410 feet 6 inches long, 60 foot wide, and 106 feet high. She has a maximum speed of 21 knots and a cruising speed of 16 knots. She can carry 620 passengers and 180 cars. She also carries tour buses, RVs, motorcycles, and commercial trucks. She has a crew between 50 and 60 people. The railroad car ferry concept on Lake Michigan was facing serious economic troubles during the 1980s, and by November of '88, Badger was the only vessel remaining. She was the last of 14 ferries remaining in the service. On November 16, 1990, facing bankruptcy, Bowden, the owner at the time, laid up Badger, ending 93 years of railway car ferry service in the area. After sitting idle for a year, the three ferries were purchased by entrepreneur, philanthropist, and Ludington native Charles F. Conrad of Allen, Michigan. On July 9, 1991, he undertook a major overhaul and refit of Badger, exclusively for carrying passengers and automobiles. The only operating ferry of her kind in the world, this ship is an icon of the car ferry heritage on the Great Lakes. Conrad retired as president of Lake Michigan Car Ferry Service in 1993. He died on February 9, 1995. Badger is the last large coal-burning steamship in the United States and is the last vessel in service on the Great Lakes to be powered by Skinner Ultraflow engines, manufactured by Skinner Company of Erie, Pennsylvania. Typically, Badger completes a trip across the lake in about 4 hours, covering 60 miles. The SS Badger rarely misses a sailing time due to weather. She is also unusual in the fact that she is a registered historical site in 2 states. On August 9, 2008, Badger suffered a steam bearing failure, causing the company to cancel the ferry sailing for nearly a week. It was the first time the ship had ever experienced a steam bearing failure. On August 10th, the ferry sailed under her own power to the Bay Shipbuilding Yard in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin for repairs. As the yard had no opening at the time for the work to be done in a dry dock, a team of divers was flown in from California to assist in the repairs. Regular sailing resumed August 15, 2008. It was the first time since 1993, when it struck a rock, that the Badger was laid up for on-schedule repairs, and the first time since 2005 that the company canceled a sailing because of mechanical failure. Badger's large deck space allows her to transport tractor-trailers and large commercial loads. In 2012, she carried more than 1,000 commercial loads. The ship carries wind turbine components from Wisconsin. Some are 150 feet long and 150,000 pounds. Badger's fall season was extended by 2 weeks into early November to carry additional wind turbine loads. In 2015, the ferry was officially designated as part of US Highway 10, thus linking the two disconnected segments of the highway. In December of 2020, Badger was sold to Interlake Steamship Company. On July the 21st, 2023, a ramp counterweight in the ferry's Ludington terminal failed. While Badger herself was unharmed, the extensive damage and lack of an alternative loading ramp forced the early closure of the ferry's 2023 season. Service resumed on May 17, 2024, after a new counterweight system was installed. The SS Badger came under fire from the Environmental Protection Agency and environmental groups in late 2008 because of her daily practice of dumping untreated coal ash from her boilers directly into the waters of Lake Michigan. Burning 55 short tons of coal a day produces 4 short tons of ash. Badger had earlier been the subject of EPA Clean Air Action, but was granted an exemption under the law due to her historical significance as a coal-fired, steam-powered vessel. Company officials compared coal ash to harmless sand and planned to keep Badger in her original coal-burning configuration. In an effort to continue to minimize the environmental impact to the Lake Michigan car ferry had explored a number of alternatives, including storing the coal ash on board. Another option once considered was the use of compressed natural gas, which would allow the historical boiler system to be maintained and make the Badger the first green ship on the Great Lakes. Lake Michigan car ferry signed a consent decree with the United States Department of Justice and the EPA in March of 2013 to end ash discharge within 2 years, using a new ash retention system. The revised consent decree was filed in September of 2013. In January of 2015, work began on a conveyor system that will store ash in 4 containment bins on board. The new combustion control system will allow the ship to be more efficient by burning less coal and generating less ash. Badger was retrofitted so that she will no longer discharge ash into the lake and has been certified to return to service. The ash is now offloaded and used to make cement. This is really cool to see. It's always nice to see the old ships still around. Even better, this one's still working. This would be an awesome trip. I'm sure plenty of tourists go to this area just for this 4-hour ride. It is very cool that she's still using the original coal-fired engine, even though a few much-needed adjustments were made. I am surprised that they got away with putting the coal ash in the lake for so long, but that's no longer a problem. She is a beautiful old ship, and hopefully she's around for many, many more years to come. I do believe her sister ship, the Spartan, which is still available, is being used as parts.